Hi, my loves. Happy Monday. So excited to hang out with you this week. I am thrilled about today's topic. It's going to hopefully blow your mind, disrupt how you're doing your business, and make it better, more flowy. This is called You Are Not an Emergency Service. You are not an emergency service, which I think we know, like in our heads, we know that we're not medical doctors, right? There are some businesses where it truly is an emergency service, right? You want the person to be there, like usually like health related industries, right? When I go to the emergency room, I want there to be like an immediate emergency response, right? However, you pay a premium for that. But my guess is, prove me wrong. If you are listening to this or watching the replay, number one, please say hey and do hashtag replay. But let me know if you are an emergency service. Like, would you prove me wrong? But I'm just like willing to bet that none of you in this group, I know that I'm not, I know that none of my current clients are an emergency service. And yet sometimes we treat our business like one. And that leads to a lot of distress, and really a lack of ability to like grow your business from this place that feels really good. And I'm a big believer of making your business feel good because that's what's going to make you sustain it for the long run, right? Okay, hi. If you've never met before, my name is Anna Franzen. I am hi Katrina. How are you? Happy Monday. So excited about this topic. Like literally a little too thrilled to dive in. But if we have never met before, my name is Anna Franzen. I am the leader of this Heart Center Entrepreneur community. And I'm so thrilled all this week, at least Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm chatting with you about technology, boundaries, how to make your business feel so much better. Because here's the thing, the better you feel in your business, the easier it is. It's really with everything, right? When you think about relationships, when you think about motherhood, right? The better, if you ever noticed, like when you're having a good day, like everything just seems easy. And even when something goes awry, you're like, whatever, I'm going to handle it, right? And then vice versa. If you wake in a crappy mood, it just seems like the world's out to get you, right? We know this. And so one of the biggest ways you can feel better day to day in your business is by having good phone boundaries. So I released, so excited about this, a low-cost audio course, 7-day audio course called the Phone Detox to help you get better phone boundaries and skyrocket your business. So I'm going to talk about it all this week. And then if you decide to join me for it, then next Monday, a week from now, I'm doing a private live Zoom group coaching call, so that we can talk a little bit more intimately about this topic, because I feel like it is something that's a little more personal. But you can grab it I'll pop the link in here afterwards. But anyway, so basically this week I'm going live every day on a related topics. This isn't really about detoxing your phone. It just something I wanted to rant about, and it sort of applied. And so I'm like, great, gonna stick it in the phone detox. Okay. So I'm gonna actually read to you a post that I wrote about this. I haven't posted it yet, but I'm gonna post it here below after. And I just want you to take a minute. I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to take this in like poetry, like a sermon, like some truth. Because I think this is a mindset that we accidentally have, that we don't even know that we have, that we adapt, that we don't even know it's possible to operate your business in a different way. And so just let me know in the chat box if, as I'm reading this poetry to you, you are willing to open your heart, open your mind. I don't know about you, but like the older I get, I'm only 33, I'm not that old, right? But the older I get, the more I'm open to changing my beliefs. You know what I mean? The more I'm open to being challenged. I have a lot of really strong like values and convictions, but I think at the end of the day, I'm willing to really listen to anyone and hear like and I just feel like in the online space, in our political world, there's not enough of that, right? On both sides, there's a lot of like hardness and fear. And I just think like willingness to be open and hold our beliefs lightly is just such a big value of mine. How about you guys? Okay, here it is. Are you ready? You are not an emergency service. If you're a VA, you do not have to respond to your clients 5 minutes after they message you. If you're a coach, you do not have to panic and solve all of your clients' problems immediately. It's time to stop checking Slack or email or Voxer or however it is that you serve your clients between session 27 times a day. Am I right? Can I get an amen? I think it is. It's time to turn off all notifications so that client messages and really social messages in general stop interrupting you, and you can mentally check into your business when you are ready to be available and fully present and there. And otherwise be fully present for life, right? I also put, it's time to take the Slack off your phone altogether so that you can sit down and respond 2 times a day when you're ready. If you're feeling stressed in your business, it's time to create some new rules. You're the boss, so you get to set those. Remember? How often do we forget that we're the one? Like, that's the good about business, but also, you guys, I'm going to be real. It's the hard part. The hard part is that we create our own rules in our business, and we don't always make rules that protect us and take care of us, right? Your job, here's your job, to respond to your clients in the time frame you told them, period. I thought there was 2 points, but that's it, right? So for example, I tell my clients, in between sessions, I love between session support. You guys know, if you've been in any of my programs, you know I love in between session support, right? I just think it's so powerful. I love session work, but I think in between sessions, when like shit hits the fan, right? When you're having a hard moment, and to have a coach, honestly, it's one of my favorite parts about coaching versus therapy. As a therapist, you have so much firmer boundaries. And I love that I can get in there as a coach on a client's really hard day when they're not in session. Like, let's be real, like, things go wrong between sessions, right? So I tell my clients, I'll respond within 48 hours, right? Your job is to communicate to your clients when you'll respond within, and then your job is to always meet that expectation, right? Okay, let me continue. It's possible to leave that urgent feeling behind. You do that by managing your discomfort and self-soothing instead of managing your anxiety by responding to your clients every 12 seconds. And this can be especially true if you're a new coach or a new service provider, or you're still getting in the flow, or maybe you've been doing it for a while and you've just have never had anyone give you permission, right? But if you have anxiety around, what if my client messages me and they're upset? What if my client messages me and they're like, we have anxiety. And so we try to solve that anxiety by checking our email, checking. But at the end of the day, it's just a short-term fix, right? It's just a short-term drug that really is only going to last until you need to check again, right? So what I'm recommending to you is you don't even look at the email, right? Because once you look at the email, then you've opened that loop, right? And instead, what I'm suggesting, are you able to tune into your business when you want, or do you feel like you're beholden to your phone, beholden to your clients, right? So, and then basically I said, like, take the phone detox, because you deserve a business that doesn't feel like an emergency service. Okay, I have a lot more to say, but let me know your thoughts to that point so far. Is this a new concept for you, the fact that you're not an emergency service, or is this something that you've already integrated? I really want to know. I want to have a conversation around this, because I think it's like a huge thing I see for my clients, is just giving themselves permission to really fully unplug. And for me, when I started doing that, every once in a while, I'll put my client support on my phone. Like if I'm going to go on a vacation, hold on for a second, I got to burp. Or that was a really big burp. If I have like an extenuating circumstance, but in general, I do not have my client communication on my phone. Why? Multiple reasons. I don't want to disrupt my life, but also because I know I provide far better service, far better coaching. I'm way more efficient when I'm not multitasking, right? When I'm able to sit down, be mindful, open my between session client support and answer, right? With my full presence and really fully, it's almost like when I'm with a client in session, right? I'm not going to be multitasking. Same thing for when I'm answering an email, right? I really want to be as mindful as possible. Now, there are exceptions to this. I would say, like when I had really young kids, when I was pregnant, when I had my daughter, I did do a little bit more multitasking. So I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying if you're able to, I think it is best to have those good boundaries. Okay, that was it, you guys. That was the main point. So your job today is to ask yourself, number one, what can I affirm? Here's two things. What can I affirm for myself to remind myself that I'm not an emergency service? Because here's the thing too, if you don't work on this right now, when you have a team, then you start to like create that within your company, right? And let me know if you guys have ever worked for a boss or an organization where everything felt like an emergency when it really wasn't an emergency. You know what I mean? We really don't want to create that. In the short run of our business, when you first start, things are a little bit more seat of your pants, right? But it's just like, in order to be sustainable, in order to like love your life, love your business, and provide this like really consistent, steady quality of service, I think some of these things like really proper boundaries, sorry, I almost had an accent there. What was that? Really help make such a difference, right? Or else what can happen is you might feel this, people always say like, how do I not have feast and famine income months, right? And I think so much of that has to do with like, are you having feast and famine energy? Are you having feast and famine moods? Are you able to show up for your business consistently? Because the more consistently you're able to put in, the more consistently you're able to get out of your business, right? Let me say that again. The more consistently you're able to show up and put into your business, the more you're consistently able to get out of your business, right? And we do this again by having good, sustainable boundaries. Boundaries. Okay. Hope this was so useful for you. I'm so grateful for you guys. I will post the info if you guys want to do the 7-day phone detox. So basically what it is 7 short 5-minute-ish audio clips that you listen to, self-study on your own pace that will walk you through step by step exactly what I do, what I walk my clients through to really have better phone boundaries, so that you can make more money in your business without being miserable. Because I think there's a lot of talk online about making more money, but I think it's like, we want to also sustain our quality of life. Like, I feel like I'm the best case study for every single year making more and more money. But really, I feel like over the last 5 years, my quality of my life has only gotten better and better, you know? And I just don't think that's talked about enough in the online space, right? You see entrepreneurs like growing really big and then kind of fizzling out. And I think it's because it's not this conversation about some of the things that like aren't as sexy to talk about, right? But actually work when it comes to maintaining and sustaining your energy. Okay, create an affirmation for yourself around this. Number 1, like, it's safe to unplug. I'm not an emergency service. I can provide an excellent level of service to my clients without being online 24/7, right? It serves my clients when I have phone boundaries. I know for me, it for sure does, right? I know that my clients appreciate that when I respond to them, it's very thoughtful, it's very thorough. And the reason I'm able to do that is because of the boundaries that I have, that I can come in when I'm not thinking about myself, right? When I'm not but when I have fresh energy and I can really show up and be fully present. And so maybe even saying like, my phone boundaries help me be fully present for my clients and for my life. Because I think we have this fear that like, when we have phone boundaries, we'll have like FOMO or we'll miss out. But I actually think we're missing out by not having the phone boundaries. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Okay, so your job is to, number 1, put some sort of affirmation in place. Number 2, download the phone detox if that would be useful to you. But to just really also ask yourself, are there any specific boundaries I need to have around for myself, right? And that's the tricky thing about business. It takes a lot of self-trust. How do we build that self-trust within ourselves? That if we tell ourselves, I'm just going to check on my clients 2 times a day and not 27 times a day, how do you build that trust to make that happen, right? Okay, feel free to drop any questions in the chat box, and I will be back to answer them. Really, really thankful for you guys, and I hope this was of service to you. Okay, happy Monday.